Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. We are getting closer to the biggest party of the summer, the 4-hour WWE Summerslam extravaganza, live from Brooklyn, New York. And don't forget, we also have the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, which is now officially sold out. Both of those events will be covered by NoDQ.com. Stay tuned to NoDQ for the very latest. Got your questions here from spring.me/Aaron Rift. First one today comes from TV Dex. What if Vince McMahon secretly wants ZZ to win so he can show us just how dumb we the fans are voting for the worst person conspiracy? Hashtag conspiracy. I really doubt that. I think that Vince honestly believes that Josh is the best guy to win Tough Enough. Vince is all about appearance, and I could totally see Vince not wanting ZZ to win, and I highly doubt that Vince would want ZZ to win to throw off everybody and swerve people. I really doubt it. And how do I know that you're not submitting this question trying to get me to not convince people to vote for ZZ? You're trying to use a little bit of reverse psychology on me. It's not going to work. Everybody out there, vote ZZ. If ZZ survives on Tough Enough, this is going up Tuesday morning. If ZZ survives tonight on Tough Enough, I will do another 30-minute no DQ&A video. If he's in the bottom 3, make sure you tweet Tough Enough ZZ as the hashtag on Twitter. Text his name to the number. Do whatever you got to do to make sure that ZZ survives. And if he does, I will do another 30-minute no DQ&A video. All right, this one comes from Mike at PunkFan123 on Twitter. Do you think Dean Ambrose should turn heel at SummerSlam? I think it's time because babyface Ambrose isn't going anywhere. I totally agree about this in terms of Ambrose not going anywhere as a babyface. I've been saying this for months. I've been saying that Dean Ambrose should turn heel. I think it would give his character some new life, and I think it's really needed for him. And the fact that WWE's been doing this storyline with Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, they've been so close as friends. And one would think since WWE has been going out of their way to acknowledge this all the time, how close they are, and all the backstage promos of them talking about their friendship. I mean, it really feels like the seeds have been planted for a falling out between these two, but then it hasn't happened. SummerSlam, I mean, that could be the place where it happens, and I'm thinking to the future here. Where does Roman Reigns go after SummerSlam? It's pretty clear to me right now that he's not going to be in the main event picture with John Cena feuding with Roman Reigns, or feuding with Seth Rollins. One would think that you need to do something with Roman Reigns, and I don't know if I would keep this Bray Wyatt-Roman Reigns feud going. It's just not working for me personally. I think by turning Dean Ambrose heel, that would do a lot for Roman Reigns, and you would have these two going at it, and that would be a much more intense feud. That's just my take on it. I think it would be a good feud between those two, and it would do a lot for Dean Ambrose, and it would elevate both of them, I think, by them having a feud against each other and taking that feud to the next level. And that could set up an eventual Shield triple threat match as well once the two of them have done their feud. And, another direction is they stay friends and they stay working together as a team. I got this question here from Tyler R. Dosa. With the tag teams lacking depth, could you see Ambrose and Reigns becoming tag team champions? The problem with this, I think that if Ambrose and Reigns were the tag team champions, it would put them down a level in WWE. I think that them being tag team champions would not be good for them. I think both of them should be top-tier WWE stars. I think both Reigns and Ambrose are the future of WWE, and I think the tag team championships being with them would hold them back a little bit. I think that would prevent them from being at the top in WWE, and I don't see the point in making them a tag team. I just think that would do them more harm than good at this point. I think the best thing to do is to split them up and have them go at it in a big singles feud towards the top of the card, and keep them keep them as a major part of WWE television. With the tag team titles, I mean, the tag team titles haven't really meant much in WWE lately. You could put the tag team titles on a major team, but right now I don't see any good storyline reasoning for doing it. So I would just stick with them being singles competitors and eventually feuding with each other. All right, this one comes from Mr. Panda 316. In your opinion, what was a better WrestleMania, 30 or 31? That's a tough one because I was at WrestleMania 31 in person, so I have a little bit of a bias. I think I still prefer WrestleMania 30 because of the Daniel Bryan matches. It started off really strong with Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, and then it ended with the epic moment of Daniel Bryan winning the WWE title. That whole storyline, I think, really made WrestleMania 30 one of the most memorable WrestleManias in recent WWE history. And historically as well, with the Undertaker streak ending, even though I didn't think that match was very good between Lesnar and Undertaker. And Hogan, Austin, and The Rock in the ring together at the same time, and Cesaro winning the Andre Battle Royal. I mean, you had a lot of really memorable moments at WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 31, as I mentioned months ago, that was one of the most solid shows in terms of the overall quality from start to finish. WrestleMania 31 was one consistently good match after another. But there were no real match of the year candidates at WrestleMania 31, and there was no real huge moment that you'll never forget, with the exception of Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank, and that really ended WrestleMania 31 on a high note. But not a whole lot of memorable moments. Sting's first match should have been a bigger deal than it was, and of course, everyone who's been watching my videos knows how I feel about Sting losing to Triple H. Wasn't a fan of it, and that could have been done better. That was a disappointment. So yeah, I think I would go with 30, just because the big moments at WrestleMania 30 I think were bigger than 31. But I do feel 31, the consistency of the quality of the matches was better at 31. All right, this one comes from Chris. It seems GFW has had a rocky start. Is the brand sustainable? What, if anything, could they do for the better? Well, I think GFW has already messed up. I think associating with TNA is going to do them more harm than good. And I totally understand Jeff Jarrett's attitude about getting as much publicity as possible. And by doing this angle, it's giving GFW exposure. So I guess that's a positive. But I really feel at the same time, it's going to hurt GFW because TNA is such a damaged brand. And I think associating with TNA is not going to do GFW any favors. And I'm not going to go into spoilers about what happens with the GFW TNA angle, but I mean, I don't feel that the association is going to help the GFW brand name. Yes, it's giving them some publicity, but I don't think that that's enough. I don't think that it's going to really help them get more people invested in the GFW product. What they really need is word of mouth. If they can get a TV deal and if they can present a quality product, then they might have a chance. But let's face it, Lucha Underground, their future is still uncertain, and they've had a lot of solid shows. And I did watch the Lucha Underground finale, the Ultimate Lucha, and that was a tremendous show. But they're still not even confirmed for a second season at this point. So even with strong word of mouth, Lucha Underground is struggling. So I don't know what GFW can do other than just try and present good shows and have a solid alternative to WWE. I don't know though if anything can really help them in the long term. They just got to keep going at it and take chances and see what happens. All right, this one comes from the Anime Fans. Where would wrestling be without good old JR Jim Ross? That is an interesting question because Jim Ross, without Jim Ross, I don't know if Steve Austin would have gone over to the degree that he did. I don't know if The Rock would have gone over as much as he did. I don't know if Mankind would have gone over as much as he did. All those guys did everything that they could to become big stars, but JR really sold them as larger than life and as guys that were important to the business. Jim Ross calling the Austin matches and just really doing everything in his power to get the stories and the storylines over with the fans. Jim Ross did a lot, and he really deserves credit for pouring his heart and soul into the WWE product in the late '90s, and that is a very legitimate question. Where would WWE be without JR? And I think that really stresses the importance of the commentators and how they can make a difference. You can have all the great talents in the world. You can even have good writers, but you need a guy who's there at the broadcast booth, getting over the storylines and giving fans a reason to care about what they're watching. And very few people could do it like Jim Ross. Arguably, nobody could do it like Jim Ross. He was truly the best in the business on the mic, and that's how I feel about it. And I don't know if there'll ever be another JR, but you listen to those storylines and the commentary during those storylines. Like when Triple H was revealed as the guy that hit Austin, didn't make a whole lot of logical sense, and it was dumb to have Rikishi be the driver, but then when that wasn't working out, they turned Triple H heel again. But Jim Ross was just so convincing, and he got so upset about the whole thing that you really cared about it and you really believed it, even if it wasn't a very logical storyline. Jim Ross made it work. You listen to that commentary when Triple H turned. I mean, it was so damn good. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Jim Ross really did make a difference, and he deserves all the credit in the world. All right, this one comes from May 3rd, 89. Has there always been backstage politics involved since the beginning of pro wrestling? Or was it not a part of it at first? There's always been politics. In any walk of life, in any occupation, any industry, there's always politics. There have been politics since the beginning of human history. And that includes wrestling. There have always been politics, no matter what profession you're in. Maybe it's gotten worse in recent years. I think when there's more money involved, you're going to naturally have more politics. So it's probably gotten worse in recent years, although now that WWE is essentially a monopoly and they have control of the industry, there's only so many politics you can have. There's only so many games that you can play in the world of wrestling because Vince is the boss and the McMahon family has control, and the buck stops with them. They have the final say over everything. And with WCW, when you had wrestlers that could get creative control clauses in their contract, that was the recipe for a very hostile environment and lots of politics being played. So really that was the peak. I would say definitely in the 90s, it was probably at its worst because so many wrestlers had power. And now the power is with the people in charge, and that's the McMahon family. All right, this one comes from Devin. I'm not sure if you have answered this or not, but in your opinion, what is the worst gimmick match? I would say Kennel from Hell. I mean, that's a pretty easy one. King of the Mountain was never a fan of. The Punjabi Prison was another one that was a dumb gimmick match. Those would be my top three, I guess. All right, this one comes from Lima Head 7. If Lance Storm had gotten a manager to talk for him in WWE, do you think his run would have been better? He was a great wrestler. I think Lance Storm was fine on his own. You look at his time in WCW. I thought that for all the things that people say about Vince Russo, he got Lance Storm over with the fans as a heel for a brief period of time, and then they dropped the ball in New Blood Rising, and he was never the same after that. But for the first month or 2 months that Lance Storm was in WCW, he was red hot. I mean, he was probably the hottest act in the company, and he was just coming out there. He had no manager. He was just doing his thing, and he was doing well. He was even doing well in WWE during the beginning of his run. What really killed him was when Steve Austin started calling him boring, and then they turned him into a comedy character and just playing up the fact that he was boring. I think that was a mistake. People should fear the guy. When they're laughing at the guy and making fun of him, that ruins his credibility. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on Facebook and Twitter. Tell a friend about No DQ&A video. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding SummerSlam. Got more videos coming up this week, so subscribe if you haven't already at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Submit questions at twitter.com/AaronRift. And I'm trying to get to your questions. I have been overwhelmed with questions ever since I went on Twitter. I guess more people have access to Twitter than spring.me, and I've been getting flooded with questions, trying to get through them, so please be patient with me and try to come up with unique questions that'll increase the chances of me answering it on video. And on that note, I will see you guys next time.